add your name to the bottom of the list if you haven't already, and your project. What else? Bold your name if it's already there, so we know you're here. Looks like we don't have a ton of people, so we're not super pressed for time, but still we want to make sure that we get to everybody. How's it look, Andrew?
We're good.
Cool. Let's see. The only person I see here that's on this list is Tarun.
Yeah, I did.
How's it going?
All good, all good. Yeah.
Team Parcel?
Yeah, hey guys. Can we go?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah. So as we got the previous feedback regarding integrating Aragon and seeing what components of Aragon we could integrate. So we did have a look, and it's really great that we could possibly integrate a lot of components from there, because they're essentially making DAOs, and they had multi-sig components as well. But the problem lies in the fact that it consumes a lot of gas, because I tried to deploy and play with Aragon, and it costs 7 million gas for deploying a DAO or an organization. So I think that's a big concentration that we had to take. Apart from that, I think what they're doing is they're essentially storing a lot of information on smart contracts, and that's one thing that we want to avoid, and store everything on IPFS, and just make generic functions on smart contracts that could possibly save a lot of gas for the users and us. Yeah. So for that particular reason, we skipped Aragon and tried to build our own contracts, and we've made the initial set of smart contracts already. So I think we're on the right path, and so we finalized the architecture as well. So the architecture flow would look like this, where all the data is stored on IPFS, and we're creating a mapping of the index and the corresponding hash that we get from the IPFS. So we're just storing when the user updates any kind of information on IPFS, we just update the mapping. And if you want to fetch the data, we fetch the data through that index. So we're creating like master files. So let's suppose if there's a file for payslips, we don't store individual payslips of employees. We just have a master file of payslips, and then have the nested data over there, and store the index of that master file, and then save it to the smart contract, so that it's easier to manage all the information in one go. Yeah, so I think we're good with that, and we'll be building that during the weekend. And also for the next week, we'll be integrating mass payouts. So we're integrating the mass payout logic very soon, and also money streaming. Yeah, money streaming will also be integrating money streaming soon through Zapier. Just wanted to share the updates and get some feedback.
Yeah.
Very cool. Sounds like a really good direction. Do you have like a demo that you can show us that's easy or no?
So
Sorry to put you on the spot. You totally fine not.
Yeah, we just plan to showcase the demo today, but we just misunderstood. Like, we thought the feedback is around 1 a.m. And like night. So we just got to know like in half an hour we have the feedback.
We just got the
so by tonight, like, we made the deadline of bringing something. So,
and we're just making our milestones on this feedback call. So we're up for feedbacks at the right times. But I think we misunderstood the timings a little bit. Yeah. So
no worries at all. I'm just I was just curious if you happen, because do you have any questions that we can help with? I mean, all of what you said sounds really good. All of that sounds like a good direction to me. Any questions that you have that we might be able to help with?
Yeah. I think like Filecoin team already helped us a lot, like deciding the architecture. So we're pretty much like good. Yeah. Cool.
Sounds good.
Good.
Yeah, like sounds really promising. Like looking forward to checking out the demo and playing around with it later.
Yeah, I think next week we're definitely going to be shifting into, if you have a demo, please bring it. And hopefully we communicate the feedback time a little bit better. If that was on our end, sorry. Yeah, we were just switching up the timing for people in different time zones. I know there's at least one other team that's trying to get in, so I'm just running around in the background trying to get them. Brahma, did you want to share something about your project, maybe demo a little bit, if you have a demo?
I have it. No, I don't have it. I mean, we have something, but I can't demo that now.
Okay, I mean, if you're just here to listen, that's fine as well.
Yeah.
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
That's okay. It's all right.
Looks like we had some new joiners, Yusef and James.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Yusef.
Hey, how's it going, man?
I'm good. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for this opportunity and this amazing event. And I love the HackFS, man. And you did some good job, man. Pretty neat. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very
It's
much.
lovely seeing you. Sorry, I don't have a camera, but I mean, in this era, it's very good to see people and talking with other people. And thank you so much. Yeah.
Well, we're glad to be hosting the event as well. It's been amazing so far.
So good, yeah. Awesome.
Do you want to share anything about what you're building?
So yeah, I'm working with two persons. One on their project, I joined their project, and another one I can't join because I can only join one project. So first one is we're trying different bounties on textile. So yesterday we did textile. We worked through all the treats and buckets. So we got main MVP, car insurance app, which is a small car insurance app where you can put all the evidences and all the stuff there. And we just got from Andrew access to Power Gauge, and that's good. That's a good chain. And next step, we'll try to do the unstoppable domains, the chat app, which is a big bounty for the $4,000. That's a good one. And there is yeah, I think there is the other ones like the 3 box, which is a smaller one, and the other one I just don't remember. Fleek. Yeah. So we're trying to do 3 or 4 bounties at least, short time. But yeah, it's like crunch time. But it's like the deadline is very close. You can just keep going. But I'm loving textile. I'm telling you, I'm going to move from Firestore, and use textile because I think it's so good, and it has the link with Filecoin, and you have all of that, and it's so smooth, and I think that's the future. Like there is a good future for this. I love it. So yeah, and for the other chains, I think so. We are going to do the other ones, ENS for sure, even if it's small one. Fleek, which is pretty good, but I think they are going to split like $100.
Do you have any questions about trying to integrate all these things together? Or
yeah,
you guys just kind of heads down?
For sure, I'm trying. I have many questions for the Power Gauge. We just got access, but we wanna leverage that and use it as much as we can use them, like making some good features, even if we have a tight deadline. But that's good. For the thing, I think, which is Protocol Lab bounties are pretty awesome, but I just a little bit have some questions because the top track prices, there is like 8 categories: DeFi, dataset, dev choose video, and so on. So is it like something we have to make a small app for this bounty, or do we make are we can we just make other apps for the other bounties and we are part
Well,
of?
I mean, we're gonna consider the submissions
Yeah.
kind of against the categories, and we're gonna pick like the like the best that we see in each of those categories. In terms of like, you might be asking if you can submit multiple apps. I don't know about that. You can, I mean, Trent, you.
Yeah, I was gonna respond. Yeah, so the way it's gonna work for those categories is that when you go to submit your app in 2 weeks, you get to specify that you are eligible for one of these 8 categories, which means if you're working on an app that's about audio or large data sets or DeFi or video, you get to choose that. And if you do, then you'll be included as part of the list, and the Protocol Apps team will kind of get a list of all those categories, and they'll pick the best project out of that. But it's not really a separate prize. It's just another thing you can win for being the best app or best submission for a given category.
Awesome. Sure. Yeah, sure. And for video, do you mean like we can make something like a social video, like, I don't know, social video app or something, or audio video app using Filecoin or something like that? I mean,
it's very broadly defined. So the category is supposed to sort of imply that your submission or your hack is going to be dealing with that specific topic. So for video, like you could have done like a video social network, or if you want to do a video streaming website, that also counts. If you wanted to do a website that processes large videos and you have a video editor, that's also like part
or
of the
a podcast, for example, podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no, I mean, we can actually try to specify that and clarify that in the descriptions. But if you think that what your project is doing includes video processing or audio, then you're eligible for that category.
Awesome. Yeah. And what's about the 30K storage cap? So yeah. What's about the 30K builder price? Yeah.
So after judging happens for all the projects, the top teams will be sharing that price. So it's not a specific thing. It's just the best of all these submissions.
Awesome. And what can we do to be like one of the top chosen?
Well, the quick answer on that is you make a really awesome video that explains what you're doing and how it works with Filecoin or Ethereum or both, and really tell everybody why you decided to build this thing and how awesome your demo is. So our judges will determine that, but it's really up to you to kind of make sure that the video you're going to submit for this really conveys the importance of this app and a really good demo that everybody can look at and understand what you're trying to do.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, make the best project.
Yeah, totally. I'm trying to amaze you here. So I'm just trying to get some tricks and tips here. So yeah.
I think that's the best guidelines is make the best project. And
yeah, that's
then you win everything.
That's very broad but quick like answer. That's good. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So I try to make something unique and I'll try to do that. Yeah. And
cool.
For Filecoin uploading, do we need like to buy some Filecoin tokens or?
No, it's in the testnet, so you should be able to just it's just the testnet, so you can get some Filecoin from that.
Faucet, yeah, on Faucet.
Awesome. So I think we got a few more people joining, and if
Thank you.
one of those teams that submitted the form to feedback, I think we should.
I think Morgan, can you unmute or just? It looks like the session might not go for the full time. So if you were planning to like drop out and then jump back in, it might be better if you go now. Do you want to tell me what your limitations are?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I can speak. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
yes.
I was gonna have Yao go next, but if you have like some sort of time limitation, we can have you go first.
Oh no, that's okay. Yeah, I can go. Yeah.
Okay, take it away. Yao.
Okay. Everyone can hear me, right? That's good.
Yeah.
So thank you guys. First time on this call ever. I don't know why I missed the first one, but really excited to be here with you guys. And finally feel a little bit more connected with you guys now that I can see your face. So a little bit about our backgrounds, and then I will also talk about this month, what we are focusing on specifically for this project. So in the past 6 months, we have a small team, 3-person building a decentralized online community platform. So basically, it's a decentralized forums. So if any of you old enough to be in the 2000 or 1995, you remember the news groups, the NTP protocols, that kind of stuff. So we always think about why it doesn't last as long as the email protocol. And there's a lot of reason because of for people actually hosting the content, the ISP actually responsible for hosting the pornographies from, and then FBI call them and they have to shut it down and then become no more providers hosting those content. So, and then we become a web 1.0, 2.0, and now 3.0. I think that this is finally a moment for us to build something similar to 20 years ago, which is a lot of freedom, a lot of peer-to-peer spirit, and that's what we built. So we built a very similar user interface as Facebook groups. However, the content we store is actually stored in IPFS. So all the posts, all the community metadata are stored in IPFS in real time. And then so we launched that product last month, and then we are thinking about what we can do a little bit more for the crypto communities in general. So and then we saw this hackathon, and we decided to build an extensions, not just for Everflow, but also an extensions for other traditional community system like Wimbledon or PHP-BB, those kind of old-fashioned forum system, and empowering the community owners of those systems and also Everflow forums, obviously, to create their own branded token, to create their own ERC20 branded token easily. So we emphasize a lot on ease of use, a good interface, just like Facebook groups, that allow people who doesn't really have any crypto background to actually create their own branded token. So not only for the creation, but also we help the community owners to define a lot of rules for them, to empower them to define rules to how they wanted to reward their members. So basically we build a reward engines in a sense that community owners can define what the amount and also and when the user can receive that amount when they do something. For example, if the discussion has reached 100 response, then they can get some tokens from the community owners. So so we figured that this is probably what we can do within 1 month. And but in addition to that, we also support allowing communities to actually import existing any ERC20 tokens to use for their communities. So for example, think about you are actually a crypto team, you wanted to create your own token, but also you wanted to use existing token that might be more appropriate for your community. So that's flexible as well. So this is what we thinking we can do in 4 weeks. And now I know that it's already on the 3rd week. I think we are getting pretty close, and we are able to have a demo by the end of the 4th week. So we are pretty excited, and we wanted to be have IPFS to be the back end of a decentralized forums. We wanted the token to be able to reward members, and also can be used as a governance purpose. So people you can select moderators by sticking your token, that kind of thing. So that's what we wanted to build.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. Sounds great.
Yeah, I guess where are you now with the progress you've made so far? We finally had all the backend script and the smart contract done for the ERC20 token creations. Obviously, that are not a rocket science. Everyone with the cryptos background can do it. But what you need for us is actually build the front end that can connect to it and make it easier for form owners to understand, and not only to create it, but also let them to define rules to drop the token to their members. So I think that's the fun part. And we did finish all the script, all the airdrop script, all the smart contract creation script. I know that we are paying 50 cents
per token creations on behalf of the form owners for now, but I guess that's okay. And I think we are pretty good progress. I guess the back end is pretty much done, but more about perfecting the front end that is actually usable for form owners. Okay.
And just so I understand, will this kind of work with existing forum software? Like, I mean, PHP, BB, you talked about, like, are you planning on integrating that on just the token part and the payment side of this, or for the community members, or is it an alternative also to a link here to one of these softwares?
Yes, initially, obviously, when we're building extensions, we would make it first to work with our own platform, which is built on the IPFS, which makes sense because we are sort of focusing on the crypto communities. But the way we build it, the way we package it is it could become a plugin for the third-party form systems. So in a sense that, there's a plugin, it's pretty common on a lots of form system. So we will build similar plugin for them, and we can repackage that. But I know there's a lot of technical hurdles, and especially a lot of concern from the form owners about whether they have to download our apps to receive our token and that kind of stuff. So I don't think we have that kind of time within a month to handle all that stuff, but we wanted to create a reference implementations that works in our platform, and it will be open source. Obviously, we put it on the GitHub already. If you have access to it, you can take a look, and hopefully we can repackage it so that it will work on among different form system out there.
That's great. I just looked at the link of your website and I see the demo. It's pretty awesome.
Great.
So yeah, you said that you can integrate previously existing ERC20s. What does that look like? How do you connect in previously existing contract to your reward mechanisms? So obviously if it already exists with like mint and burn mechanisms, how do you actually handle that in your backend?
We don't actually handle that. We just give it away for form owners to transfer attributable amount of token into our platform.
Okay.
So we become holding the tokens on behalf of the form owners. So, and then whenever users receive the token, they will get it in our platform as well. So there's no gas or no fee until they decided to move the token away from our platform to their own wallet. So that make it easier and low cost for people to transfer token within our platform. So there's some trust involved on that, but it's also very flexible in a way that it doesn't really create any gas, any fee, and super fast. So yeah, so that's how.
So you're effectively custodial for just to avoid the headaches of these communities having to do key management and things like that.
Yeah. So because we figured that they would never really, I mean, at least initially, they would hesitate to manage their private keys, but we do have the option for us to transfer the creation private key, the ownerships back to them. So we will have a transfer feature that they can transfer it back to them, basically create a new one and we just burn old one. But the smart contract created by us will always have our Everflow team signature to it, so that we sort of can promote what we're doing, I guess. Yeah.
Is this all on main chain, or do you have any sort of off chain, given that it's custodial?
It's off chain actually. Right now, it's just really simple database, not really safe, to be honest with you. But we're getting there once we figure out the model that has a good balance between non-crypto form owners and non-crypto.
Yeah, in the next few months, I'm pretty confident that there will be layer 2 side chains and rollups that are coming online that can support this kind of high throughput social platform type things, gaming. Should check out Matic, MATIC, if you've heard of it. They're doing a lot of onboarding with games and different platforms like that maybe would be a good fit. Yeah, because right now, if you're custodial, you're not hosting the content, but you're in the same position as the reason that these forums in the 90s went down is because they're hosting illegal content Do you
Right.
see any parallel to you hosting like value from people who are doing illegal activities if this is all custodial?
Okay. I don't, can you repeat your last question? Sorry, my son just entered the room.
No worries. I was just saying, like, if it's custodial, are you worried at all about like hosting the funds for any forums or groups that are, you're not holding the content necessarily, but you're holding funds for groups that might be doing something illegal?
Right,
Or
right.
would you
I
be
think
filtering
that's,
that at the front
yeah,
end?
yeah. I think I hope that the ETH2 Ethereum 2 can solve some of that issues. I mean, the reason that we hold it is just because we, at this early stage, we wanted to be as fast and as free as possible. So that's the only way to do it within the communities. And I mean, and however, we also have ability for people to transfer out. So, but I know that there's a limitation, but with, I mean, as soon as there is a appropriate framework or technology can allow us to not to do it, then we will definitely move on.
I mean, it's definitely outside of the scope of this the next few weeks. But it's cool.
Sure.
Thanks for sharing. It's a cool concept, and your site looks really good. So
thank you.
I'll be curious to poke around.
All right.
All right. I think we could move on to Morgan if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Can you hear me?
A little quiet.
How about now?
A little better. Yeah, should be fine.
Okay. So the project is called WeFlow. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay. The general concept is that looking at Filecoin, I'm really impressed with the fact that you have this global efficient data access where you can write and read in a very efficient way. And I think it's an interesting concept to try to model cognition for agents acting in their environment, whether they're moving around and need to access certain things, whether it's a car or a person or a robot or something like that. So my main goal with this project was to focus on the learning outcomes that might come with thinking about how data is written to in sort of a hierarchical way. So the pitch is that can you construct local environments to capture sort of masked forms of these data views that are kind of like a more like engagement with brain-computer interfaces. So for example, if you think about a person moving around in an environment, a person in a very abstract form has sort of like an aura or a very simple waveform to them. And that doesn't necessarily say who they are or what they look like, or even the words that they have as sort of parts of their truth function. But it's sort of like an interesting view into that person and how they might interact with their environment. And then you can kind of go down the resolution and dig deeper into, okay, well, that person with this waveform has sort of attributes or tokens or descriptors to them that might represent who they are. Then sort of adding another layer is like, okay, well, that person has sort of like a journal or words that describe them. So it's like thinking about a hierarchy of this type of data structure that might be put into Filecoin through, let's say, something like the PowerGate interface. So yeah, that's sort of the general concept, and then asking the question, it's like, well, why would we want this? Well, it could be an interesting social experiment as it relates to like, how do we iteratively test whether or not brain-computer interfaces should be something that should be used in the future, and working on models that are kind of like in between, let's say, physical environments versus digital environments, because right now these two are very separate. Like, we construct these video games that are completely virtual, and people spend hours in them and then come back into the physical world, and then they might have, let's say, like issues socially or something like that. So can we find this common ground between, you know, the physical world and the digital world that might be a better, I guess, like ramping function for possible brain-computer interface modes. And I think that this type of data input could be an interesting aspect into aspects like ecological psychology or things like the way that you know people move around in certain environments, and it might play into aspects like longevity and mental health. Yeah, so that's sort of the general concept. I haven't actually implemented anything yet, but the focus was to think about the data structure that's behind it, possible views that one might interact with. Let's say, you know, thinking about a group of people as a quote unquote state, and then thinking about their auras as like a network of interactions that you can view if you wanted to as an audience. And then finally, thinking about the crypto layer would be, say, okay, well, if I'm a person that wants to interact with this environment or this sort of like network of auras or like hierarchy of data structure, I can pay to see sort of more resolution. So, you know, maybe I can, if I'm looking at this this environment of these auras of people, quote unquote, that might not give me a lot of context, but I might start picking up on patterns and say, oh, well, that's interesting. Like I see this blue aura and this green aura interacting with each other. I can pay a subscription to see their sort of journal as a way to better interact with this social network. And yeah, that's sort of
quick question.
Sure.
Yeah, so maybe I missed it at the beginning, but can you tell me how are you getting data into this? Have you spec'd that out or written anything about how data gets into what you're describing?
So you mean like the actual a hardware device or something like that?
Sure. Yeah, it could. Let's start there. Are you actually planning to experiment with an interface like that?
So I do have access to a simple interface that is a brain-computer interface to. It's not the focus, but I do have access to one to input that into just a sort of like web browser. And the next step would be to experiment with like, let's say, more people in this concept. But yeah, it would be to use a brain-computer interface that I would source from somebody else.
Okay. What would you say is when you're submitting this in a few weeks, what would you say is your goal for the submission? What do you want to have framed out?
Yeah, so the main goal is to create a useful hierarchy for the interaction with the Filecoin PowerGate project, or just the PowerGate interface. I think that would be useful not just in this context, but in other contexts like biohealth and other things like that. And then using that as sort of like a, I guess I'd describe it as like, what might a neuroeconomy look like in the future if we're starting with these like base data streams that are from brain-computer interfaces into sort of more higher resolution social interactions that could be modeled in let's say a market of people that are interested in these in contributing to this global network. So I guess like to answer your question about base case, it's like just sort of an input layer, a view layer, and then some sort of crypto subscription layer.
Is that like your end goal or something that you hope to get done
That's
in the ideal case?
the hope to get done in the next couple weeks. The ideal case would be
Okay.
using this as sort of like a, how can we experiment with brain-computer interfaces from what we have now, which are just external to the body, and thinking about I guess.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah, no, I was just curious. Juan or Kartik, do you want to? I'll pass it over to you because I know I've been talking quite a bit. Any questions or suggestions?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a super cool idea. Like, I'm not sure what you mean by, like, I guess, I mean, I don't know which specific BCI you're talking about, because there's a couple, I guess, public ones that have good APIs. Like, I used to have one called the Muse, but it's not really there yet for, or at least the one I had wasn't there yet in that version to kind of fully let you do what you're trying to do. So I guess my biggest question here is like, how do you actually properly fingerprint a person? If the goal is to kind of rely on those like data waves, I assume or beta waves here, because it seems like your kind of biggest one will be tying that identity, and then you can already acknowledge that because if you want to get two people or multiple people up in there, how do you know which party is the one behaving or kind of just acting? Mm-hmm. But I think it'll be super cool to kind of have something like this thing. I just think that's a super interesting idea, but I'd be more interested in understanding like how would you think about the fingerprinting here?
Yeah, so the concept I would focus on is not necessarily about fingerprinting from let's say brain waves. Like the device I have is purely just a single source of just an individual point of the brain that doesn't give you a unique signature at all. It's just more like, what is the frequency of your
I see
the blood flow in a certain part. I think what this can turn more into is sort of a social network around mindfulness and people that are focused on being in these states that are not necessarily living together, but also living across the internet. It's sort of like that's sort of a second aspect that I don't necessarily want to, I think right now that the focus is to kind of get a hello world out there that integrates things together, that can explore the concept and then can build sort of like, okay, well, what can this, it solves the problem of the input and processing and the output layer. A simple action could be just group meditation. And I think that's could be a really powerful thing in sort of like new age religion movements, but I don't think that this is, it's like, who knows what could be used for.
Oh, it's super interesting. So I guess maybe, are there any specific things like we can help you with to kind of get the initial demo up and running?
I haven't actually played around with any of the code interfaces yet. To get a demo up and running, I know that I was trying to reach out to a person to see if they wanted to join the team, but it wasn't responding. I don't know if there's people that still don't have teams. I would be open to working with other people. That'd be one aspect, and I think I just need to spend a little bit more time focusing on sort of base case, because I have sort of like a general abstract concept in my mind.
Yeah, for sure. We can, Trent can, we can just take a note and see if there's anyone else that is also still looking for another team member. But yeah, it would be great to kind of know what you end up with for the base case.
Sure. Is there additional feedback or in the next couple days or so?
We'll be having a few more next week. And yeah, we're planning to have at least 2 or 3 next week, but they'll be at the end of the week.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely in between now and then, ask for feedback or drop things in the Slack. That's where most of the hackers are hanging out. And I know that's where the global team and protocol labs are. So
Okay.
if you're looking for feedback there, that's where you want to put stuff.
Yeah, I put some writing out onto a GitHub that I could have shared for this, but I just thought I would just speak to what was top of mind that I thought might be important. But yeah, that might be useful. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing. We're going to move on to, let's see who else. We've got a couple other people here. Jin, you want to tell us about what, you want to tell us what you're building, what you hope to have in a few weeks, and anything you need specific feedback on?
Yeah, let me just kind of get my notes open. So I'm doing DWeb VR. And essentially I'm thinking about how to make a social network more accessible for people to build in by providing templates and guides. And I'll just kind of screen share my notes here, just kind of. So I did experience back then with IPFS and ENS to make virtual worlds with. So I've got a good handle on the tech stack. Like I set up hackerlab.eth a while ago, and this was my previous kind of experiment foray into building a decentralized virtual world in your browser. I'll wait for this to load. But I'm kind of thinking about, you know, how to make this easier so
Really
people
cool.
can fork it. And so you get your kind of home space here, and there's all sorts of gizmos and gadgets. A start page. So I'm thinking in terms of the onboarding, it's going to start off like this, the 2D page that takes you then into the 3D page. And then there's different 3D pages. So instead of just this world, it can also be a crypto voxels world showcasing other experiments and stuff. And then that door or this garage door can take you out. I'm trying to build kind of like a sandbox, so you can just start building stuff in there and saving it, and then commit it to the branch, and maybe you can join up with other people. But I want to kind of limit the scope. So what I was thinking of doing is starting off with onboarding, like making a really cool title screen that takes you into a 2D front start page. So I've got some inspiration of start pages. One I really like is web desktops. These are desktops that look like, these are websites that look like desktops. So I thought that was a really cool idea, especially because on IPFS roadmap 2020 goals, there's like web OS, and that was an interesting idea. Like, okay, what if web and OS kind of combine, but this was just like a simple front end concept. So I've got some ideas doing that with the CSS doc and all that. Just, you know, kind of building the atmosphere of the virtual world. But what is the virtual world, and, you know, how do we get the Web3 people and the VR people kind of aligned together? So how do I make this kind of modular? So I was thinking maybe an expo. And so I've been looking at shell scheme booths, and maybe these booths can represent one for every category. And what I've been doing in the background is just kind of building a kind of a data viz of these categories.
That's
just to get
awesome.
some ideas.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I want to kind of create a memory palace, so you can just kind of walk through the IPFS ecosystem like a video game.
That's so cool.
And you can spawn these in all sorts of places and then start to rearrange them. So those are wall nodes, and I can make floor nodes over here and just keep kind of customizing them. And they're fully functional. Like, you can launch this in your web browser. It's the actual website. Just kind of, you know, seeing what is out there in terms of tech, right? And then, so I was kind of thinking maybe I'll start there. Maybe everyone can have, because it can be easy to decorate this, right? You just throw up a couple of image posters and, or maybe you can give a presentation. So at Lab Day, they did this really nice way of formatting the archives. And by recording presentations this way, you could cut the videos separately and then spatialize them. So that was really easy to then make into a kind of a hologram presenter. I've got a demo here. Actually, here's one with one.
Oh, wow, that's in the archive. That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I've been open sourcing the Internet Archive virtual world as well.
That's super cool. That's so cool.
Yeah. So if I record presentations in this kind of template, you see I can key out the background and then put it behind a podium, and boom, you've got like speakers. So that's a kind of a cool way of doing VR, spatializing kind of the talks, but also it opens up an environment for kind of more social gatherings. But we might not always have the same setup, of like a good lighting and a clear background, So how can I make that easier? So I've been messing with VTuber, virtual YouTuber software for creating kind of green screen. So this is my VTuber over here. This is, I'll just show you my OBS template. So I can record that same kind of setup over here in OBS. So if you want to protect your privacy, or if you want to, you're lazy and don't want to get the right lighting, and green screen is tough. You got to worry about shadows and wrinkles. This is an easy way using open source software for recording a presentation as, you can use any character, honestly. I just chose this, but you can import a avatar file through here, and I'll just load that up. Here's my chef for teaching 3D scanning in the future. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll make like a, if I were to go with this idea, there can be expos and then there can be speakers. So I'm thinking, and maybe the world is kind of modeled or inspired by Harry Potter worlds, because like, why do you want to make a virtual classroom look like classroom? It's VR, Let's make it magical, it's spatial. And I like it because in Harry Potter worlds, they have small class sizes and big tall ceilings. It feels right. So, and it's also pretty hype, So I'm thinking for my project, start page that takes you into a number of options. You can go into the expo world, you can check out a schedule of events. I want to kind of just have like basically a front end. I'm probably gonna change the nav bar to look more like a launcher, like on Linux or Windows. You have the start button or something. The CSS doc looks nice. I'm not sure about the background over here. I'll probably do something HackFS related, neon grid or something, but these icons will launch you into different experiences, and there'll be some of them, like the VR experience, one will be hosted on unstoppable domains, one will be ENS and IPFS, and just kind of, trying it all out and then throwing that all on the internets for everybody else to dig in, and kind of part proposal, parts project, because it's like we can make something really epic together, use it as like a gathering space online, do tours through the, the expo, or build classrooms like Proto School can have, hologram teachers or.
Yeah, you could do workshops together, like in a go take a workshop together and everybody be in the feel in the same room.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, physical events it's hard to see them coming back. With virtual events, you could get a lot of participation, and you can archive them in this way and have whiteboards, and just a way for us people outside of the DWeb community to explore what DWeb is about, and for these minds to just cross-pollinate and come up with ideas together.
This is really cool. Ton of really awesome ideas. Really love how all the different modalities that you're exploring. A lot of really awesome stuff. Couple ideas that as you're going through it, having the old arcade style machines, I think is really cool. And something you could do is you could take a library of a bunch of games, like normal. There's a ton of games out in the web, so you could take a bunch of them and import them, give them each their own website. They could be their own IPFS hash, or you could actually give them a name with ENS or unstoppable domains or something. And then you could have like a whole arcade room, and it'd be really awesome if you could do like either at least streaming single player, where if I go up to it and I start playing, then somehow if you're next to me, you can see what I'm seeing, so you can see me playing the game, and so that would be kind of like streaming the canvas of my browser.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if you like. There's probably a few different approaches to how to do that, but that would be kind of really awesome, because then you can have people crowding around and seeing people play the same game, or you could have two people playing the same game, their own instance next to each other, and then you can see kind of like both screens, and you can play single player games competitively. Now the real kicker would be, could you do a multiplayer game that way? And that would be really, really awesome. Like you could start throwing arcade parties right now where you could get everyone to this room, have a room full of different games, and then people can start playing multiplayer games with each other. So I don't know, this is really awesome. Really love all the concepts, and really like the Expo Gallery. I think that's a really phenomenal way to explore an ecosystem and explore ideas. Yeah, this is great.
That game within a game concept was the original inspiration for that hackerspace, where you could play you and your friends can each have a full screen of any web game. I use CryptoVoxels in this example, but it's the game in a game, where you can jump into this world, and this can be completely decentralized, and you're playing in this. So it's kind of, I see the metaverse kind of in these layers. You've got the local layer, which is like your desktop, and then you've got a social kind of peer-to-peer layer where it can be you and your friends in a neighborhood or something, and then there's this global layer where I think that's where the virtual economy is going to be. So this one kind of ties it together in a comfort mode setting, where VR is much more comfortable if you're looking at a screen versus if you're in there in that blocky world. And you can listen to your favorite music, and there's a little work area over here too. So this is the kind of visualization when the garage door is closed, and when the garage door is open, it's kind of like that game Elevator from Gmod, where it keeps opening up into different worlds.
Yeah.
I want to make it very portable, which is why I contained it all within that shipping container.
Yeah, I love the modularity aspect. Like this whole idea that you can take that entire world and place it in different places and put a lot of them together. That's awesome.
Yeah, you can stack them up together. Build like a campus. I've been looking at designs and maybe even using real shipping container models for it.
How hard is it for somebody to make their own room?
It's getting a lot easier. In the latest version, with the drag and drop is getting, I'll just kind of show you a video real quick. It's going to be drag and drop, and I already open sourced a lot of these assets, including basically a empty version of this world. So I've got GLTFs and voxel models as well, if you wanted to make something in crypto voxels. But this is a demonstration of how easy it'll be to customize. And then after drag and dropping the files, all you need to do is export the code. It's writing the markup underneath it. So yeah, this is basically building your own 3D website, just even collaboratively. So it's using JanusWeb. And so it's doing all these edits over the server as well. So you and a friend can customize the world and talk to each other. It's WebRTC for VoIP and video sharing. Screen sharing can come too as well. But yeah, just using drag and drop in your mouse wheel, 1, 2, 3, 4 for changing the scale. And then you export the code, or just save it all as a model and then import it to a Blender or something to optimize, because things like this helmet might be pretty high poly. So yeah, so I want to make it very easy. So I want to start out with some templates like the environment and then the house. So I'm thinking about, well, I don't know about the house. Maybe we'll start out with an expo booth, you know, and then it can graduate to your own personal house. Just, you know, starting out with land, building, graduate from there, just keeping it all modular.
This is super cool. Yeah, this is awesome. Can't wait to play with it.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll have a virtual instructor probably telling you how to do everything. So that's the goal, is making this into a website in which you learn how to make a 3D website on IPFS.
Awesome. That's a really cool demo. Glad you were able to walk us through it.
Yeah. Glad you all like it.
Is there anybody else who wants to share what they've been working on or ask for feedback? Let's see, we've got a couple people who haven't spoken yet. Sabo and James Bork, if you'd like to share, and Jay. But I'll James, I know we haven't seen you in a few sessions, so if you can, that's fine. Anyways, just put it in the chat if you'd like to talk. Jay, do you want to share what you're working on?
Yeah, I have a question for Juan. One of the things we're running into is storage space. What question is, do you have any idea what 40 petabytes of storage might cost when Filecoin is live?
Not yet. We'll see what happens with the block reward and the incentives and all that kind of stuff. So we're still early days to be able to tell something like that. But it's worth noting, like the block reward of Filecoin is going to subsidize a significant portion of that storage cost. So we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, it'll be a market competition.
Do you think that would be a problem, like 40 petabytes a day or 80 petabytes a day?
I'm not 100% sure, but my thought is that for clients, the expensive part will just be getting the data to the miners. 40 petabytes is a lot, so you have to ship it.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. Cool. Well, I had a good chat with some of the Protocol Labs developers this morning about some dimensions of libp2p running on Raspberry Pis, a constellation of Raspberry Pis, and they gave me a relay direction to go in. We're working to stand up a D app that Carson Farmer demoed in a series of lessons, and we're looking at that as our front end. And yeah, we're pretty pleased with how it's all coming together. So that's our update.
Very cool.
Oh, and we were extremely heartened by the conversation last night about the future of decentralized social media. We saw a lot of common ground there. So yeah, thanks. That's it.
Cool. I think that might be everybody, unless there are any final thoughts from Kartik or Juan. Definitely next week, we would love to see people breaking their demos, come to the hack feedback session, show us some code, show us what you've got, because before you know it, it's going to be time to submit. And we'd love to have at least 2 sessions where, you know, there's time for you to get feedback on what you've actually built. So we should have those times settled soon, and then they'll be up on the calendar for the next hack feedback sessions.
Yeah, awesome. I have a small question for Jen. Is still here?
Yep.
Can I ask him? Hey, Jen, what's up, man? Awesome
Hey.
demo, man. Lovely.
Thanks.
Yeah, I love it. So you used the Janus XR, or what's
Yeah.
the software there? I'm just
Yeah.
amazed at this. So I have a background in Blender. I did some Blender, a little bit of 3D Max, and yeah, it just was amazing. I was having this idea of making like a word, like the 3D word, because like the what's CryptoVoxel one is like just pixels, but this one it's like something innovative, man. You did a good job. It's like, yeah, a good
Thanks,
idea.
man.
Love it.
Yeah,
So
hit me up on the Slack if you want to learn more about the stack.
sure, I would love to know that more about that. That's why I'm asking. Yeah, man, awesome.
Yeah, and unfortunately we've got a wrap here, but definitely
sure, thank you.
Connect in the Slack channel.
Sure.
I'm sure he'd love to share the specifics there.
Do you want to take the 3 pick?
Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me. I totally forgot. Yeah, so if everybody's still here, could turn on their video, and we're gonna get we have one more day, but this is the end of week 3. So what we do is every week we take a photo with just the week, and yeah, that's the basic idea. So let's see if we can get.
Give me a second. I'm turning on my
If you
laptop.
can, yeah,
my
no worries.
Laptop.
Okay.
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Okay.
Come on.
Wait for you.
Load up. Are you ready to see me?
I mean, if you can join the next few seconds, yeah.
Yes, I'm joining. 1, 2, I'm trying to join. Click the Zoom link here. Yeah,
just
man.
wait. Oh, you are, there you go. Yeah, just throw on your video.
Video, yeah. You see me?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's been a while since I didn't see people, man.
All right, hit us with the 3. There you go.
Yeah, 3.
3. All right, and that's everybody. Perfect. Thank you for the reminder, Juan.
Thanks, everybody.
You saved me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well,
thanks for coming, everybody. I think I covered everything. We'll see you.
Yeah.
See you, everybody.